Hello, I'm Kimberly, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Native News Update. It's Friday, May 23rd, and many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryTV.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Two groups that have led the campaign against the name of the Washington Redskins launched their newest campaign May 19th, a photo project that highlights what Native Americans and their allies are proud to be. The project is backed by the National Congress of American Indians and the Oneida Nation of New York's Change the Mascot campaign. The Proud to Be project features photographs of prominent Native American leaders, members of Congress, and others who have spoken out against the name in the last year. It also asks others who support the movement to submit their own on the Change the Mascot campaign's website. Now, the Senate is also throwing some serious muscle behind the attempt to convince the team to change, as the New York Times reports that 50 senators have signed a letter to the NFL asking the league to do so. According to Indian Country Today Media Network, on May 19th, the New York State Assembly also unanimously passed a resolution saying that the professional sports teams should end their use of racial slurs. The resolution specifically denounces the Washington football team's name and urges team owner Daniel Snyder to pick a new one. New York State legislators came to their decision on the same day that the NFL hosted its spring meeting in Atlanta, Georgia. They have joined a growing list of individuals, news organizations, members of Congress, and the President Obama in criticizing the team's name. The second round of payments for the $3.4 billion Cobell settlement among hundreds of thousands of Native Americans whose land trust royalties were mismanaged by the government for more than a century were expected in December of 2013. The payments have been held up by more than 2,400 appeals by people who were ruled ineligible to participate in the settlement. The 493,724 beneficiaries identified as of the beginning of May already know how much they are supposed to receive from the settlement. The individual payments range from $850 to nearly $10 million. Attorneys representing the plaintiffs in the class action lawsuit plan to ask a federal judge this week to allow the distribution to take place before the appeals are finalized. Identifying the people in the second class, which also contains members of the first class, has proven to be a challenge, due in part to the Interior Department's incomplete record keeping. Ruth Ziolkowski, who carried on her late husband's dream of honoring Native Americans by carving the massive likeliness of warrior Crazy Horse into the Black Hills in South Dakota, has passed away on May 21st at the age of 87. Ruth, a soft-spoken visionary, oversaw the ongoing project until she entered hospice care in April, a month after her cancer diagnosis. Jack Marsh, a member of the Crazy Horse Memorial Foundation, said the remarkable matriarch of Crazy Horse Memorial was loved and admired by millions who were inspired by her example to never forget your dreams. Ruth came to South Dakota Black Hills from Connecticut in 1948 with other young people who volunteered to help sculptor Ziolkowski begin the carving. The two were married Thanksgiving Day in 1950 at the site. The sculptor took on the project at the invitation of Lakota Chief Henry Standing Bear, who, referring to the nearby Mount Rushmore National Memorial, wrote a letter to him saying, "We would like the white man to know that red men have great heroes also." Ruth took over the project upon her husband's 1982 death and tried to heed his last words. "Crazy Horse must be finished. We must work on the mountain, but slowly, so you do it right." Many of her children and grandchildren are heavily involved in the project and have promised to keep the project going. First Nations Development Institute has awarded 4 grants to Native American communities in Arizona, New Mexico, North Dakota, and Wisconsin that will address hunger, nutrition, and food insecurity among senior populations. The grants come as a part of First Nations Native American Food Security Project, which is supported by the AARP Foundation. These 2014 grants expanded work that began in 2012 when the AARP Foundation first partnered with First Nations on the Food Security Project. The 4 organizations receiving $25,000 grants for 2014 are the Painted Desert Demonstration Project at the Star School in Flagstaff, Arizona, Pueblo of Tesuque in Santa Fe, New Mexico, Standing Rock Tribe in Fort Yates, North Dakota, and the College of the Menominee Nation in Keshena, Wisconsin. Atlanta is quickly buying into Schimmel and all that entails the drafting of a flashy player known for playing res ball. The former University of Louisville Guards Atlanta Dream WNBA team announced this week that its May 30th game against the Seattle Storm will start the club's Heritage Fridays with a celebration of Native American culture. The first 2,000 fans at the game will receive a turquoise Schimmel wristband, the same color as the jewelry she wore on the WNBA's draft night that was a gift from her great-grandmother. Schimmel has had a hot start to her professional career. Through 2 games, both victories, she's averaged 12 points and a WNBA leading 10.5 assists off the bench. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the NAVE News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.